My good friends, in today's question, I think today's question is a very important one because I think at many a times when we are jumping in to do whatever we want to do for income purposes, we're always thinking about our family, right? And in many a cases, when we jump into deals and things like that, we are doing it for the family. And in many a cases, what also happens is that each time we are elevating ourselves and going up the ladder and so on, we also want our siblings to be also coming along with us. But it doesn't really happen like that in most cases. And in many cases, we find ourselves as those who become breadwinners to be looking after other people. And basically, for some people, they've now started calling it this is called black tax. But the responsibility of looking after your own siblings and looking after your family members, it's a worldwide thing, right? So I've got someone who has sent us an email. It was a very short email, one of the shortest emails that I've ever received. And basically, within this statement, they were asking TJ, if my family members and I could start a property business, what does it look like? And in today's video, we are wanting to zoom in on how best we can do that. By the way, this is the Ask TJ show where you get to ask your questions and you can drop them in the comments. We'll check them out. And with that, I then come out every other Monday to answer your questions. And we also get to have the opportunity of having hundreds and thousands of other people that are also in the game to respond to that. So if I'm talking nonsense, at least they will give me a one on the chin to say, nah, TJ, what you're saying is a little bit of nonsense. So let's jump on to the question. And the question, simply put, is someone says here, TJ, right? This is the question. How does one start a property investment business with family? That's a very straightforward question. How does one start? Then the second part of this, the comment here is, we are well off. Ooh, bless your soul, for you are well off. We are well off. Most of us are in good jobs. Most of us are in good jobs, operative most, right? Most of us are in good jobs and just want the how, and I am sure we can get it to work. It goes on to say, we are three boys and one girl sibling. Right. I think already you can hear my pains already. Like, for instance, I don't know. I don't know if you are one of those people who get along with your siblings, right? I don't know. If you are one of those people, then high five to you. I'm going to give you a quick backstory of my siblings, right? So I am the only child of my biological and my biological father and my biological mother. I am the only child. There is no any other child between the two of them. So dad, when my biological dad came in and he kind of like tested, the grape, and he's like, this is so sweet. And he left his seeds there, and boom, this guy appeared. And he ran away. My wife says, no, he didn't run away. He went to buy bread and he hasn't come back. So that's my father, right? So he went, gone. And my mother then was like, okay, great. I can look after this kid. But 3 months later, she's like, whoo, this is so difficult. And bingo, she left. And I was left. And that's how I got to be an abandoned kid. And later on, I get to be living in the foster system with some foster parents. And here I am. So do I have siblings? No, I don't. From my mother and my father, biological, I don't. Do I have siblings from my mother's side, my biological mother? Yes, I do. But we grew up so far apart that we do not relate today. We do not relate to a point where we can actually be starting to think, can we do a business together? We're just busy with our own lives. From my biological father, do I have siblings? Plenty of them, right? And do I relate to them? No, I don't, because I didn't grow up with them. I don't know them. I've heard of them, and some we have tried to connect via social media and so on. And some of you are already judging me, or TJ, your life is complicated. No, it's not. I am potentially maybe 50% of the people that you know on the streets, but they are too scared to talk about it. I just talk about it. Yes, we are going to be talking about how to start a property investment business with your family, but this is all about the family, right? This is not the family nuclear between you and the wife. We are always talking about that, and you can do it. This is about the family, you and your siblings. So I decided, let me just give you the backstory of my own siblings. Now check that out to see whether how difficult it is. Between my biological father and my biological mother, guess how many of us we are? We just above 21. Yes, 2-1. Yeah, we kind of like a soccer team and then some, but we can't actually all come together and be something else. So, why am I sharing this with you? This is not for everybody. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is this question here that's been asked, it's a very complicated question. But maybe you are one of those cool people that were born in a nuclear family, like these guys here. There's 4 of them. There's 3 boys and 1 girl. And you're like, okay, fine, we can make it work. But let me tell you something. A lot of the properties, stressed properties that I buy, the majority of them are out of family wrangles. So family thing is, someone is dead, someone else cannot inherit it, or like there's just so many things that happens within the family so that they can't even take up that property. So today I am wanting to cover up how best you can do that. And I've seen quite a lot of particular races. I'm going to say that, yes, I've seen particular races that make this work. So not so long ago, I was in London. Most of you know that. And whilst I was there, I was talking to a fellow South African. Fellow South Africans. Yeah, I was talking to a fellow South African. And basically he says to me, TJ, you know what? I'm really excited about this property thing. Because here in the UK, a lot of Jewish people come through and they make it. They make it within the family setup. But guess what? A lot of Muslims also come here, a lot of Indian guys, you know? And I said, Muslims, like, but you can be Muslim and not being Indian. And he says, no, no, no. But what I'm trying to say here is a lot of Indian guys come here in the UK, that is, and they club and they make it work. So I'm like, okay. And he says, but how come we don't do it as South Africans? And I was like, I don't know, bruh. Because I'm not South African though, but I'm Zimbabwean, but yeah, I've been saying South Africa for the rest of my life, but I don't know. And I like started thinking about Zimbabweans also. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We've got the same problem. And thereafter, we started now exchanging some notes. And as I was going through my emails with my team and bingo, we saw this. And I'm like, oh, I can talk about this because it's a subject that we covered recently. And I actually went to see a family that came from India, right? They came from India, 2nd generation now in the United Kingdom, and they've been doing cool things, and they're wanting to invest in South Africa as well, right? So they wanted to expand outside the United Kingdom. And I learned from them, and now I am going to teach you what I've learned from them as well, which is something that is very close to my heart because it's things that I've been doing already. So here is the first thing. Let's dissect here. How does one start a property investment business with family? So these guys here, I'm assuming that they can afford, I'm assuming that they got some cash. So we are just going to dive into the assumption that they can, but how do they start? The first thing that I want to express here, the first thing, I'm sure most of you already know what it is. The first thing is that I am going to say to you guys, do you have the right property education? Do you have the right business education? A lot of people want to jump into this, but they don't know how. So I know you've asked the question to say, how do you do it? So when I'm talking about education, what am I talking about? I am talking about between the 4 of you, who has gone in to understand how investment works, who has gone out to understand what strategy that you guys are going to do. Are you guys going to do a development? Are you guys going to do buy-to-lets? Are you guys going to do Airbnb, student accommodation, commercial? The list is endless, and all of these are specific niches that you need to study and understand how they work. So, are you educated around that? Yes, at the tribe, we are always educating people. Are you one of those people? Amongst the four of you, is there someone who is taking this as an initiative to say, I am going to learn how to do it? That's tip number one of what I think you should do. Because I remember when back in the days, I didn't know about all of this property thing. I started learning. And some of you would know I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's schools and so on. And with that, I started being clever. And with being clever, I started exploring and I started seeing other opportunities that started teaching me outside what I went to school for. So the question that I'm asking here is, amongst the four of you who is educated in what you're trying to do, if there is someone who is educated, then that person needs to become the brain amongst the four of you, because that person there is the thinker, educated, strategist amongst the four people. Then it basically means that I'll jump on to point number two. Point number two is that now, amongst the four of you, how are you going to structure this? We have already identified a leader, the one that's going to think, the one that is immersed in how these things work. So now we've got what type of a structure are we going to do this? We need to structure this, remember? Because remember, there's four of you here. Now, the question I want to ask of you is, if you are going to be buying, because all of you guys are well off, right? And if you are going to be buying your properties, remember, this is a business in the real estate. So you're buying for investment purposes, right? So if you are going to be putting up a structure, are you going to buy in your personal names, which is something that I normally don't advocate? Are you going to buy in a trust? Why are you buying in a trust? Are you going to buy in a company? Who is going to become the director? Are all of you going to be the directors? Is that conducive for banks to give you funding when all four of you are directors? How are you even married? Some of you. Are you married in community of properties? If you are married in community of properties, your other partner now needs to give you consent in terms of buying. So the structure in which you're going to do this now, are you going to buy in a closed corporation? Do they still exist, TJ? Yes, they do. I recently bought one. Yeah. Why did I buy a closed corporation? Go and find out the benefits of a closed corporation. Yeah. Okay, so in what way are you going to buy this? When you are buying this now, buying is easy, my friends, right? Once you're putting up this structure, the question that we need to be asking ourselves is, who is going to stand in for surety if we're going to use debt, right? If we're not going to use debt, who is going to provide the cash? And how are we going to disperse the profits? And this money that's coming in, is it a loan? Or is this just a shareholders' contributions and people are just contributing? Or is just that, the trustees are contributing to this, donating into the trust? Is that what you're looking for? So there's many ways in which you can now start to structure this. But hold on, I did speak of the point that what if some of you are married? So will your spouses benefit from this, or do they not? Are your spouses involved, or are they not? What if one of your siblings dies? They go and see Jesus. Then what? So you can see there, I am talking here, the structure of it, if the foundation is strong enough, you can buy all these properties and then tomorrow you start having a fight. And when you start having a fight, it becomes a very painful process in investing. maybe something is not working. So as an example, within your structure, you can already start to talk about who is going to lead us within the structure, who is going to support us within the structure. Are we hiring people from outside, or are we going to do it ourselves? So your structure, together with your documentation, all of it needs to follow through. If it doesn't, then you got problems tomorrow. Maybe you might not, because you all like each other. But where there is money, there is problems. Who can help you with this structuring? Okay, who can help you with the education? I can. Come to Uncle TJ. But I am not punting my school. You can go to anywhere to get education, right? It's not complicated. Just make sure that you are getting the right deal. Who can help you with structures? Uncle TJ can't help you on this one. You need to approach an attorney, someone who understands business with a commercial hat, and ask the questions. We as siblings, then they will give you options. You can do it this way, you can do it that way. By the way, you're going to pay, you will pay some money for the structure. And I know someone is going to ask me in the comment, how much is it to put up the structure? I don't know. Each attorney has their own view, and each attorney charges according. So shop around. Yep, shop around. Then the third thing that I want to speak to here is our roles and responsibilities. So we may be thinking that here all of us are all siblings, right? And we are all well off, so we understand. Now, if you don't have roles and responsibility, and everyone is doing everything, remember there's 4 of you. You've been in a house, maybe one of you likes to cook. So if you had to go on a holiday, that's the person that's designated for cooking. And maybe the other one likes to do directions and driving. Those are all roles and responsibilities. So not everyone will be able to do everything. You need to think through on this. By the way, I also don't think that others should be involved in the business. You don't have to be involved in the business. Maybe you can be a shareholder and that's it, right? Provide your money and chill. So there is many ways in which you can give these roles and responsibilities to avoid unnecessary challenges tomorrow, where people now start to say, but you should do this. If you're not involved in the business, sit down. When you sit down, that's your role and the responsibility. Let those that are doing the work to do the work until they come to you and say, we need some help. And by the way, those of you that are going to be in the roles and responsibilities, if something becomes heavy and it's going off track, do not wait for it to fall off the bandwagon to come and raise your hand to say you need help. That's what the roles and responsibility is all about. The next thing that I want to speak to is once that you've been educated, you've got your education, you've got your roles and responsibility, which basically means that you're now out there, you're buying your deals, the deals are good, right? And you've got your 2-bed, 1-bath. The first one, just like me, start small, learn fast and grow fast. And then thereafter, I never used to speak to this, but I want you in. I'm getting you into how I do things. Celebrate. Define how you're going to hit those celebrations. What are celebrations? When the bank has given you some money, celebrate. It is a win in your business of you and your siblings. When you got your first tenant, celebrate, right? When you got your second property, celebrate. All of these will give you momentum as siblings to continue going. And as you continue going, celebrating, your muscles starts growing and growing, and you start winning and winning some more. And my friends, I almost want to say that if there is 4 of you, I really do think that you need to think of today, you need to think of tomorrow, and you need to go past tomorrow. When you are still surviving and you can still be being active in the business, and when you can also not being active in the business and you got grandkids and because When you're buying property for family, that's the thinking that you're wanting to do. So all of that you need to think it through, and you need to put it on paper, and you need to, what if the one doesn't want to be in the business anymore? It's part of your structures. Yeah. Can I sell? And who do I sell? Can I sell to my other siblings, or can I sell to anyone else? You see? So all of these things, my friends, this is just a snippet. I know the question was, how best can one start the property investment business, right? I know that the question was, it said here, I just want the how, and I'm sure we can get it to work. I've given you a whole lot of things to think about. I've given you a whole lot of things to touch on. I've given you a whole lot of things to go and think. You can replay this thing. And this is just the tip of the iceberg before you go in to start your property investment with your family. Bless your soul if you and your family can do this, because there is power. You don't have to go and do this outside. You can do this immediately with your family members, with your siblings. It's very great. And you can start to build your own cash flows. This is how some family businesses have been born. Instead of reading other family businesses, we can be read about tomorrow. To say the business that started off in 2023, in 2025, now will have X, and it's growing. My friends, this is it. You can do it. The more you learn, as I always say, the more you earn. Remember, we are of the view that here at the TJ Tribe, we believe that every parent should earn passive income from property. And that's why these guys here were asking this question to say, how best? And I've given you my best thoughts. And by the way, if this is your first time being here, welcome. And if you've been here before and you haven't hit the subscribe button, shame on you. Hit that button, right? I love to see people coming into the tribe, joining into the tribe, and all of us, we can all learn. And by the way, I am just leading, but you can also give your comments right here. Give us your thoughts. If you've done this, let us know how you've done it. Give us a snippet of how it is. But to those that are going to be doing this, hey, good luck. And until we meet again on the next video, it is I, your boy, TJ. We'll check you out again.